I'm going to show you how to make Windows 11 look as close to Windows Vista as possible. As close as I know how to anyways. This might not be the closest out there, but I think this is a pretty good replication of it. I mean, you've got the start menu, you've even got the orb poking above the taskbar, how it does. The taskbar itself looks really close to Vista's without using retrobar, and I'm gonna show you how I did that. The start menu itself it's not exactly like Vista's, but it is pretty close. This is a pretty, it's not a hard process, but it's kind of a lot. But if you really like this aesthetic, I think it's worth it. We are gonna be using WindowBlinds. I know a lot of people don't like WindowBlinds, but they're like the only option unless you want to use basic themer to get the basic arrow theme. But for Windows Arrow Glass, you're pretty much always gonna need WindowBlinds unless you're on like a really old version of Windows 10 or a version of Windows 8. So yeah, in the description I'm gonna have a link to a little archive, and that archive is gonna be everything we're gonna need here. I think I may get to a point in the video where I remember a little tweak I did that I didn't include in the archive, and if that happens, I'll just do the little sequence where I show you guys how to do that. But that aside, now I'm going to rid my computer of all of its Vista-ness, so we can start at a more mutual common level, so you can understand what I'm doing. Alright, now that I've stripped Windows 11 of all of its Vista qualities, it's time for me to actually show you how to give those Vista qualities back. Alright, so first things first, you're gonna want to unpack that archive I linked in the description, and you'll see a bunch of these folders. Starting out, there is kind of a certain order you have to follow a little bit, but don't worry, I'm gonna walk you through it. Alright, so first things first, you're gonna want to go to the Explorer Patcher folder and run the ep setup.exe. This is Explorer Patcher. This basically patches Windows Explorer to make it more compatible with the arrow theme, as well as just a few tweaks that makes it a little more accurate. So you're just going to click run, or yes rather, and your screen will go dark a little bit, but that's only because it's patching the Explorer, and the Explorer is the Windows shell that gives everything its appearance. So if you get a notification about an update, you can update it if you want. It's unlikely to break anything. The updates are pretty frequent and minor. But that aside, now that your Explorer has been patched, what you're going to want to do is right click on the taskbar, and you see in the context menu you now have this little option for properties. You're going to want to click that, and it'll bring up the new properties menu for the Explorer Patcher. And I don't remember the exact tweaks I did to get it compatible and accurate with the Windows Vista arrow theme. So what I did was export my own settings that you can now import, and you're gonna want to, in the properties menu, you're gonna want to click about, and you're gonna want to go to import settings. And what you're gonna want to do is go to the Explorer Patcher settings in the archive, and just select that. It's the only one there. Click yes. And as you can see, it gave us a more traditional looking taskbar. Obviously it's a far cry from Vista, but we're getting there. It's our first noticeable amount of progress. Now that that's out of the way, what we want to do now is go to Old New Explorer. It should be somewhere in here. Oh, here it is. I didn't uninstall this because for some reason it's not doing it anymore, but for a while. Oh, also you can see now the Explorer is different, a much more traditional Explorer. But for a while, it was conflicting with my WindowBlinds theme, and the back buttons, they'd be the arrow buttons for 15 seconds until they turned into these more Windows 8 kind of, or Internet Explorer 9 type of flat buttons. And it's not doing that anymore, and it may do it for you, but I don't know. I'm hoping it doesn't do it again. But yeah, just be wary of that. It might not do it for you, it may, I don't know. It did it for me. But yeah, it's a pretty simple setup either way. Just open it, and you're gonna want to install shell extension, and you're gonna want to use classical drive grouping, use libraries, and show details pane at the bottom. These, I don't think they really change anything with Explorer Patcher, but you can. And status bar is kind of optional, but you can show it. Appearance style Windows 7 and status bar style gray if you do use it. But yeah, new Explorer is pretty simple, not much to do there. But now that we've got those two out of the way, we can get on to the big boy. Next, you're gonna want to run the WindowBlinds 11 setup. I know a lot of people don't like WindowBlinds because it's paid, but like, as I said earlier, it's pretty much your only option. And it looks pretty decent for Windows 11. There is probably a way to just keep like spamming the free trials. Probably just use a new email. But you're gonna want to let it install, and I already have it installed, but I'm just gonna let it install again. It is gonna ask you to reboot your system, but I'm not gonna do that because I already installed it. But basically in WindowBlinds, there's not much you need to do in the application itself just yet, but you're just gonna want to go back to the archive folder. Oh my god. Alright, but basically after you've installed WindowBlinds, you're gonna want to come back to the archive folder, and you want to go into this folder titled Arrow Vista X Reset. This is the Vista theme. Basically what you just want to do, you want to double click the Arrow Vista X Reset.wba file, and you'll get this tooltip. Click it and your screen will blur a little bit, but it's applying the theme. And this is where we're really going to see a bunch of difference. As you can see here, our file explorer looks a lot like Vista's now, and our taskbar looks a little Vista-ish too. But we're gonna edit that a little bit as well. But yeah, we're getting really close. This is kind of optional, but what I did was to make it a little bit more like Vista's arrow. I went into the WindowBlinds configuration, and I went to modify style. For the colors tab, I chose this like blue, and then I went into the transparency tab, and I brought the opacity just up just a little bit, like barely noticeable that the color is changing, and that gives it the kind of like bluish hue the Vista arrow theme has on Windows Vista. It may make some apps look pretty weird, like the properties menu for Explorer Patcher, but you can exclude them. If there's any programs you want to exclude from being themed, all you have to do is go to per application in the WindowBlinds 11 configuration, and just add. You're gonna have to find the executable for the program you want to add, but yeah, just add the executable, and just in the options just click ignore this application and do not skin it, or you can use a different skin. With that out of the way, we're going to fix up the taskbar a little bit. What we're going to do is run the OpenShell setup within the Windows 11 to Vista folder, or archive rather, extracted archive. And you're just going to click next, I accept, and now we've got OpenShell installed. Mine is already skinned from before my pre-existing folder. But to install the OpenShell skin, what you're gonna want to do is, where is it? You're gonna want to go to the Start menu skin, and you're gonna want to copy these two files, and you're gonna open a new window. You're gonna navigate to your C drive, go to Program Files, scroll down till you see OpenShell, and in the skins folder, just paste these skins. And for this .ini file, and it's not gonna show at first, but just close it and reopen it, and now there we go. It still looks a bit weird, but it's better than nothing. So I'm stupid and forgot to actually show you how to apply the skin once you've got it in OpenShell, so I'm back like hours later editing this. But just right click on the Start menu or Settings, and then for the menu look, actually no, go to Start menu style, and then make sure you choose Windows 7 style. Then you're gonna go to skin up here, and then you're gonna make sure you have either Windows Vista Arrow or Windows Vista Start Menu Skin. I don't know if it's just for me, but like they're both the same, they don't change anything. So yeah, my theme is a bit scuffed at this point. Yours might look a little different because you do have to reboot WindowBlinds, and I didn't do that. So at this point your taskbar might look a lot closer to just a lot closer to Windows Vista, but on your end it could probably be a lot better. What I'm imagining is this action center icon is probably still there for you, and the notification center, and the clock is all weird for a Vista theme. It's weird, but I'm going to show you how to handle that right now. Alright, so to finish off the taskbar, you want to come back to the Windows 11 to Vista archive, and you're going to want to find this folder titled T-Clock. This is essentially just basically a third-party clock plugin that draws over the basic Windows 11 clock. And I already have it running, but yeah. It'll probably pop up this window for you. To make it like Vista's, first you're gonna want to make it run on Windows Start, but you're gonna want to come to clock text and make sure you're using this font. It's naturally in Windows, it should come with it. If not, you can probably find it very easily. And make sure your size is set to 9 and the color is white. Then you're going to want to go to time format, and you're going to want to remove the date entirely, because Windows Vista, the clock on the taskbar, it doesn't display the date, the day, or anything. But what you are going to want to do here is make sure you have AM PM and only show hour, minute, 12-hour time, and make sure you remove the seconds because Vista doesn't do that. You might be able to, I don't know. That's it for T-Clock. Almost forgot a few things with Classic Shell. The orb doesn't come with the theme, so what I did was I put the orb in the pack just now. And what you want to do is you want to right click on the orb that's there, settings, and as you can see here we can choose our own custom orb. You just want to pick image, navigate to the archive folder, and you'll see Vista orb here. Just select that PNG, and yeah, it's the orb. Also, another thing to make it a bit more like Vista, while we're here in the settings, go to start button and make sure you have replace start button enabled. And for the custom button, the button size I made it 67, so it kind of peeks over and gets cut off at the bottom. Like it peeks over the taskbar and gets cut off at the bottom of the taskbar like it does in Windows Vista. And another thing about OpenShell is that you might have noticed that for some reason the arrow transparency and OpenShell can not coexist with each other. Like WindowBlinds, it doesn't really play nice with OpenShell. I don't mind it, but if you do, I mean, you can kind of just like in the taskbar settings, this should work, but if you make it transparent, and I believe, yeah, you can lower the opacity. It just doesn't blur it anymore, and usually it would work if I chose glass, but it doesn't. So I think it's something to do with WindowBlinds and OpenShell conflicting. So yeah, that's a bit of a bummer, but personally I prefer the Windows basic look anyways, but that might be a deal breaker for you. I don't really know how to get around it other than using Start 11 for the start menu instead, but I don't really like Start 11. That's just me though. While we're at it, we might as well wrap up the taskbar with a few things here. So one of those things is, as you know, in Vista you can't really pin things to the taskbar in the traditional sense we know now, but what they did have was the quick launch thing that we have here, and to add that is pretty simple. A lot of people don't know you can still do this, but what you want to do is right click on the taskbar and you're going to see toolbars up here. You're going to want to do new toolbar if it'll come back. You're going to want to do new toolbar, and you're gonna want to navigate to your C drive. Once you're in your C drive, go down to users, your admin folder, and app data. It might be hidden for you, but I don't remember exactly how to unhide folders. It's really simple, but unhide it. And when you're in your app data folder, you're going to want to go to roaming, and once we're in roaming, scroll down until you see Microsoft. In Microsoft, Internet Explorer, and then quick launch folder, and then select folder, and then it gives you this little quick launch thingy here. Make sure your taskbar is unlocked. Like, make sure your taskbar is unlocked.
Listen.
And then when you're in here, you're gonna want to undo show text and undo show title, and drag it out and just move it all the way to the left. It may act a little weird, like just keep smushing rather than moving, but if you just brute force it, it'll move over. So yeah, that's how you get quick launch back. And the Vista theme gives it the bumpy texture for the bars, which is nice. Another thing with the taskbar we're gonna do is, this one's kind of meh. You don't have to do it, but if you're committed to the look, I think it's worth it. And we're gonna edit the registry a little bit to get rid of, on your end, you should have the notification icon here and the control center icon here, I think. But yeah, to get rid of those, first we're gonna start off with the notification icon. This is embarrassing. Okay, first you're gonna want to make sure you save the file for your tutorial correctly. And to remove the notification icon, first what we're going to want to do is you're going to want to hold your Windows key and press R. That'll bring up this little run window, and you're going to want to type regedit, regedit. You're going to want to let the registry editor make changes to your device, and this just brings up like a bunch of things. I don't really understand the registry, but I know it's like it controls a lot of different functions in Windows, and you can use it to remove things like the notification icon. But you're gonna want to follow this path in the registry. Alright, once you're here, I've already done this, but you're gonna want to right click on an empty space in this little right panel here. You're gonna want to click new. Now make sure you create a 32-bit value, not anything else. Make sure when you click new, you're clicking a 32-bit value, and you're gonna want to name it this, disable notification center, exactly like that. Now I already have it, so it's not gonna let me do it, but you're gonna want to do that. And once you've done that, you're going to want to double click it and make sure this value is set to 1. And once you've done that, make sure you click OK. But yeah, creating this little thingy here gets rid of the notification icon right there. You might have to restart your Explorer for it to take effect. And to do that, you can either use Task Manager or just go to Properties and restart File Explorer with the Explorer Patcher Properties menu. Now, next what we're going to do to get rid of that pesky little cog icon that doesn't look right there. I'm not sure, because I struggled with this for a really long time until I noticed the option in here. For me, I have this option in the system tray subsection of properties for the Explorer Patcher. I have this option to remove the control center button. I don't know if it was there before because I didn't check until after I did this registry edit. But what you're going to want to do is, just in case if it's not there for you, what you're going to want to do is go to your start menu, search CMD, and run it as an administrator. Once you're in command prompt, you're going to want to open this text file for the to remove the control center cog. You're just going to copy this command and control V it into, yeah, it did it automatically, but just control V and enter if it doesn't do it automatically for you. But yeah, it'll either, I don't know what it does exactly, but I know it removes that thing. It either gives you the option to remove it in properties, or it removes it outright. I don't know. I don't know. All right, now that that's out of the way, that leaves one more thing for the taskbar. You don't necessarily have to do this, but I think it definitely goes a long way. And what you're going to want to do is go into the Windows 11 to Vista archive again and go to the CustomizerGod folder. You're going to want to launch this exe, and what this program does is basically allow you to change the system tray icons. You can't change all of them, but you do get a good bit of control. You're going to want to go to volume icons, and I don't know, it may not do this for you, but for some reason whenever I try to change my volume icons, it like just, hold on, you'll see, only my volume, it changes like all of the icons to be whatever I selected. So yeah, but I always have my volume at high anyway, so I just make it the high volume icon for Vista and go about my business. Pro tip, click these 3 lines at the bottom and make sure you turn off automatically restart Explorer, so you can like just change them in bulk without it like freezing. But yeah, well, I guess I should probably explain what we're actually doing, huh? Alright, so the volume icons, if you're changing these, just highlight whichever one you're trying to change. At the bottom here, click change, and in the Windows 11 to Vista archive, go to the Vista tray icons and go to sound, and for sound obviously, and choose the one that corresponds if it doesn't change all of them for you. For network icons, same thing. You'll see the network folder. I've already changed mine, but yeah, Vista icons. Most recreations I see kind of just stick with the regular Windows 11 system tray icons, so I think it's a nice little touch to just give it a bit more accuracy. So now that we finished the taskbar, I think it's time to move on to another pretty noticeable change, and that being the icons. So we're going to navigate back to our Windows 11 to Vista folder that we've become so familiar with, and within it you're going to want to go to the icons folder, and you're going to want to run this icon. You're going to want to run this application, Windows 7 icon pack. And now this application, it basically patches the DLL files that store the Windows 11 icons. So rather than having to painstakingly like choose an icon for each folder, you can just globally patch all of them, so all of your icons are now arrow themed, and that's really nice. I'm gonna accept the agreement. Next, patch all files, and do make a restore point. It makes it a lot easier. It does take a little while, and your background will do the thing where it goes blank because it's patching the Explorer. Well, it shut off the Explorer to make some patches, but just wait it out. It'll finish and it'll say installed, and you're just gonna click finish. And now what you wanna, oh, what the hell, the fucking toolbar came back from the dead. Alright, but now what you want to do is, so now just go to your file explorer, and you'll see that all your icons are now arrow themed. They look so good. In my opinion, a very big upgrade from the very flat icons of Windows 11 and 10. I recorded this entire little part wrong, so I'm gonna try to go through it again as fast and as thoroughly as I can while being clear. So next what we're gonna do is, we're basically, at this point we're basically finished. I mean, we're almost done, except for some small little tweaks that'll just get it just a bit closer to Vista, just a bit more accuracy. But at this point, if you want to stop, you can. On the surface, we're pretty much done. Well, except for one thing I do recommend you do, but you don't have to. But so first things first, to do any of this, what you're gonna want to do is navigate to the Windows 11 to Vista folder, and you'll see this install take ownership registry edit at the bottom. You're gonna want to run that as if it's an application. Basically what it does, it'll patch the registry to bring back the ability to take ownership of a folder like we could in Windows 7 and such. we need this because we're gonna be editing some Windows system files. Nothing too crazy, don't worry. But yeah, those folders are locked and we can't really replace those files without Windows blocking us from doing that. So being able to take ownership of the folder basically bypasses that. Alright, but now that you've done that, first order of business is the cursors. This is the one I do recommend you do above all else. So again, make sure you install take ownership, and what you're going to want to do is you're going to go to the Vista cursors folder and you'll see these arrow cursors. Highlight all of them and copy them. You're going to back out of the folder, go back to Vista cursors, and use this shortcut for place cursors here. What you're going to want to do is just right click in here and paste. I've already done it because I recorded the video wrong, but just copy and replace.
Hey, listen!
And yeah, as you can see, they've replaced the cursors. And what we're going to do now is go back to this folder, and you'll see the shortcut for the mouse properties. What you're going to want to do is go to pointers, and if you replace them like I did, rather than just changing them manually, which would take way too long, so I recommend just replacing them. But as you can see here, we have the scheme here. It registers as a Windows default scheme. But what you're going to want to do is, if you replace them, just go to scheme, change it to something random, apply it, and then what you're going to do is go back to the Windows default and apply it again so it can refresh the changes. Okay, cursors out of the way. What we're going to do next is go back to the Windows 11 to Vista folder, and now we're going to do sounds. Sounds can go one of two ways. These sounds this way, I found this from a random Windows 10 to 7 transformation pack, and it edits the registry. I'll credit where I found it from in the description, along with the other contributor, unwilling contributor to this pack. But yeah, if you're skeptical about the registry, I understand, but personally I did install this. I did do it this way, and it was way quicker, and it works so far for me. Nothing's weird, nothing's like breaking. My system still works, it boots perfectly fine. So yeah, if you're a bit skeptical, not really apprehensive about this, I understand, but do know that the alternative to this is just manually changing all of these sounds. But if you'd like to keep your sanity, then I'm going to show you how to do it this way. Alright, so first things first, what you're going to want to do, highlight all of these folders and files, and then just copy them. Now we're going to make our way to our C drive, scroll down until you see Windows, and now scroll down until you see Media. You're going to want to paste those files. Oh, again, take ownership of the media folder first, because it's not going to let you do it otherwise. So right click, make sure you take ownership, let that run, and now that you own the folder, come in here, right click it, and paste those files. I already did, so I'm not going to, and just let it merge, replace whatever it wants to do with those folders and files. And once you do that, we're gonna go back to our Windows 11 to Vista folder and go back to sounds, and you're gonna run this Windows 7 sound schemes.reg file, and basically what it'll do, it just automates this entire process. And as you can see, we have the Windows 7 sounds. You've heard them already before, but I messed up the recording, so I didn't get to do this fresh. But yeah, really hot into experience, like a lot more than you'd expect. So I do recommend doing that, but again, it's not completely necessary. A lot of people, when Windows 7 was still used, probably just turned a lot of the sounds off, like the clicking. But I like to hear it. It makes it more aero. But with that out of the way, what we're going to do now is the branding. This is essentially just like whenever you run WinVer. Hold on. Branding will essentially make it to where whenever you run WinVer, it'll display a more customized, a Vista-esque theme in the WinVer panel. So yeah, it's not completely necessary, but it's really nice for screenshots and whatever. But yeah, doesn't really matter which one you pick, it's up to you, but I'm gonna do Pro. Well, I've already done Pro. Just go in here, branding, copy these two folders. Then you're gonna navigate to your C drive, scroll down to Windows again, and you're gonna see branding, take control of the folder, or take ownership rather. You're gonna go into the branding folder after you've taken ownership and paste the folders you've copied. Let them merge, replace files, and you should, when you hold the Windows button plus the R key on the keyboard and type WinVer and run it, you'll get this now rather than the original. So yeah, it's pretty nice, a nice little touch. Brief side note, for some reason the sounds, I don't know if it'll do it for you guys, but it did it for me. Specifically the hardware insert and removal sound, it didn't automatically apply it with the registry edit, so I did have to apply those manually. If you don't know how to, what you're gonna want to do is go to your control panel, search sound up here, go to change system sounds, and here you're just gonna find device connect and device disconnect and device fail to connect, and you just want to highlight them, click browse, and navigate to the sounds. It doesn't have to be in the Windows Media folder, just wherever you're selecting the sound from. Just make sure it's make sure that folder never gets deleted or moved. And yeah, just want to go to sounds and select the corresponding one. Mine should already be working though. Nope, it's not. I still have to do it. Wow. What about here? Okay, here we go. Okay, yeah, okay, mine are working. I just made a preset for it. But yeah, that's it for that. And next, all we really have to do, we're pretty much done, except for some small tweaks. Once again, I believe only two more tweaks we need to handle and we'll be done. I'm gonna start with WinArrowTweaker. Okay, WinArrowTweaker, this is entirely optional, but install WinArrowTweaker, and once you've installed it, find it in your programs. This doesn't I don't really use this for anything except for the startup sound. This allows you to change the startup sound. Make sure you enable startup sound, replace startup sound. I had to find my sounds again, but yeah, I use WinArrowTweaker to change the startup sound. You don't have to reboot to save it, but literally one of the best sounds ever created. But yeah, I'm gonna do it myself later. Yeah, there's probably some more things you can do in here, but literally I don't know what else you could do to make it more accurate that we haven't already done. Alright, so what we're gonna do next is pretty much the last thing. Yeah, pretty much the last thing, and this is also entirely optional, but we're going to bring back the Windows Vista sidebar. Well, gadgets, sidebar, whatever, same difference. But you're gonna go to the folder again, go to the sidebar folder and run this MSI setup. I've already installed it, so it won't be this for you. If you've installed computer software, then you should be good, you know what you're doing. Let's see here. How do I open this again? You do have to kind of mess with it a little bit sometimes, but here we go. It's the sidebar. It has like the fade to black, but I couldn't figure out a way to make this like not so dark, like a lighter color. This is entirely optional. I mean, most of the things that you can do with gadgets are just easily accessible in Windows now. But yeah, it gives you the sidebar. At the top you have this little plus icon in the top right to add gadgets, and you know, you can add whatever gadget you want. The classic trifecta. And with that out of the way, we are pretty much done. Congratulations, you've turned Windows 11 into Windows Vista. one small thing I will touch on real quick, classic volume control. It basically brings back the Windows 7 volume mixer, because Windows 11 recently took out the ability to bring it back. But the thing with that is you can't theme the icon. It just adds another little like applet thing here for the volume, but it uses the old icons. So that's kind of an issue because it throws off the theme. So I didn't really touch on it. But if you don't mind it,
Always
if you don't mind it and you're just going to use the regular system tray icons anyway, then go for it. You just open it. You can probably configure it to launch on start. But other than that, there's not a lot left to do. Again, it's not completely accurate, but for Windows 11, this is probably the best you're going to get. And also, we didn't even have to use retrobar for the taskbar. You kind of keep the native Windows taskbar, so it seamlessly works with, like, it just works. If there's any little inaccuracies, I'm sure there's ways to tweak them, but for now I couldn't find any. And I think on the surface it's like almost indistinguishable. There are, like I said, a few things like control panel. It's supposed to skin the control panel, but I can't get it to work. Yeah, there's supposed to be like this little thing on the side here, the little aura thing that Vista had in the control panel, but it doesn't appear for me. Maybe it'll work for you, doesn't for me. But aside from that, pretty much done. Nothing else to do. As I said, pretty accurate. I was kind of frantic during this. Not really used to talking to myself like this for an extended period of time. So if there's anything you didn't understand or you didn't get like a result that I got, just comment, let me know. I'll try to help you to the best of my abilities. And yeah, if there's anything that we didn't do that you think would improve the accuracy that you know how to do, definitely comment that. Yeah, let me know, because I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with trying to make it look as close as possible, so getting it even closer would be amazing. But with that out of the way, hope everything worked. I am on the latest version of Windows 11, so at the time of recording, all the way up to 23H2, this actually works. That literally released like a few days ago. And if you're on Windows 10, you can follow this as well, since a lot of this stuff was just meant for Windows 10. But that being said, again, hope it all worked, hope you enjoyed. Again, comment any problems, any suggestions, comment. And thanks for sitting through this. Okay, see ya. Oh, I'm gonna leave my Reddit in the description, so if you go through, if you finish and like it works out, send me your desktop screenshots, send me your setups. Yeah, I want to see the results. Okay, bye.